Weinberger was born November 27th, 1932. I believe he's still alive, which would make him 32. This is 91. Wow, it's an old dude right there. Anyway, he was Hungarian, but came to the United States in 1957. 5 times he played in the Hungarian Championships, 5 consecutive years from 1952 to 1956, and in 1957 he came over here to the States, and he proceeded to win the New Jersey Open in 57, the New Jersey State Championship in 58, the Nebraska Open in 58, the California State Open in 59, the Southern California Championship in 1959, the 26th California Chess Championship in I think it was 59, maybe 60. First place in the California Championship of 61. First place in the State Championship of 63, California. In 64, 66, and 67, Weinberger won the Pacific Southwest Open. In 68, he won the Santa Monica Masters Tournament. In 68, he won the West Coast Open, the San Bernardino Open, the Long Beach Open. In 1973, Weinberger won the California Open. He won a lot of tournaments, this guy. He became a FIDE master in 1983, Weinberger did. Okay, so Bobby with E4, and we have a Sicilian defense with C5, knight F3, D6, D4, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn. And Weinberger goes with the accelerated dragon instead of the usual knight F6. Why does that get an inaccuracy? That's a book move, is it not? It's a book move. Knight C3, bishop G7, bishop E3, book Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht, alles schläft, einsam wach, nur das traute hochheilige Paar, hol der Knabe im lochigen Haar, schlaf im himmlischer Ruhe, schlaf im himmlischer Ruhe. This is the dragon variation here. This is the Yugoslav attack, castles. Queen D2, knight C6, here bishop C4, bishop D7 is Alexander Beletsky's line. Of course, it would not have been known by that name back when this game was played, since Beletsky wouldn't be born for another 26 years until after this game was played, I think. Right? Wasn't Beletsky born in like 83? Yeah, that should be 26. Yeah, I got it right. Anyway, we have a main line with H4. There's 2 moves that constitute the main line. They transpose. All right, H4 here is a main line, and the more common route through the main line is queenside castles. And that's answered with rook C8, bishop B3, knight to E5, now pawn H4, and you'll see it transposes to the same line that got played, but I'm showing you the more common approach to reaching this position. H5, bishop G5, rook C5, king B1, pawn B5, pawn G4, and pawn A5. That's your main line. It's the old line, I guess. The old main line. But H4 is another route, less traveled, but reaches the same position, unless, of course, your opponent plays A6 here. But you can see that the book line that I just showed can still be reached with rook C8, right? Bishop B3, H5, castles, knight E5, bishop G5, rook C5, king B1, B5, G4, A5. Same exact position, same exact tabia, different move order. Back. But Weinberger with A6 here. Well, bishop B3 played anyway, and knight to A5. Bishop H6 on E5. The eval bar favoring white here slightly. The knight retreats to E2 here, and knight takes the bishop right there. Captured toward the center, especially if it opens a line for your rook. Bishop takes the bishop, queen takes the bishop. Now pawn D5. B5 is better, according to the bot. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Well, e takes d5 here. Don't take with the knight. On knight takes, then knight takes knight. And after pawn takes the knight, this bishop can come to f5. Although the eval bar still favors white in this line. But the better choice is e takes d5, b5 here, now knight to g3, e4. b4 is the more thematic and definitely the better way for black to go. e4, though, by Weinberger, and the queen's knight captures on e4. Don't capture with the king's knight, because then b4 can still be played, and you are in an awkward position. So we take with the queen's knight, rook c8, and queenside castle. I want to point this out to our friend Valerie Loves Cody. Notice how even though the king moves in line with the rook, he used the castling technique to defend that pawn. We talked about that as well in tonight's lesson. Knight took the knight, knight took the knight, and now knight g5 would be a winning move because it would super attack this pawn. So that's why we don't take with the f-man. That gets a big question mark, and the eval bar drops in black's favor. Well, first of all, we're going to get this battery attack against the magic square, forcing c3, and then there goes your knight. Oof, that hurt. So knight takes the knight is the right way to go. In order to prevent knight g5, black played f6, queen retreats to d2, pawn a5, king to b1, getting out of the rook's line of fire, pawn b4, queen d4, super attacking this, but it is twice defended. But you also have ideas of repositioning your knight, infiltrating in multiple ways. And you're also discouraging any further pawn pushes, aren't you? Although he did push the pawn, and he took it. f5 hits the knight, knight g5, bishop takes the pawn, pawn b3 hits the bishop, queen to a5? I didn't consider that move. Is that really the best move? I would think retreating the bishop would be in order. Retreating the bishop was in order. He's grasping at straws. Well, pawn takes the bishop. I don't know what he thought he was going to get out of this. And then he doesn't even take the pawn to try to infiltrate here. Instead, he played the rook to c3. Bobby with d6, and Weinberger is in trouble. Knight e6 is coming at some juncture, defending the promotion square again. Now queen takes pawn is played. Queen d5 check, king g7, knight e6 check. Yeah, he missed a forced mate here. Again, Bobby was a master at simply simplifying, and that's what this move is about. If you would have told Fischer, hey, there's a forced checkmate on the board, I'll bet he would have found this. But it's pretty obvious, so it is kind of surprising that Bobby didn't find it. You can see it, I'm sure, yes? Queen b7 check. And all he can do is stall. If he moves out of check here, it's a dovetail checkmate with queen here. Let me put it on the board. That's a dovetail checkmate. If he moves out of check here, that's a hook checkmate. And if he moves out of check either here or here, it's a magic square checkmate. Which means that all black can do is stall by throwing pieces away. And you have the Sam Ting. It's just different. It's a little surprising that Bobby Fischer missed that, because it is a rather obvious checkmate, isn't it? I mean, technically it's mate in 2, even though it's mate in however many pieces he had to throw away. Okay, he had 3 pieces to throw away, so 2 plus 3 is 5. But there's no wrong way to win a chess game, and this definitely is going to win. Turn this into a puzzle on chess.com, and there's only one move to play. But there are quite a few ways to win the game. Knight e6 check being among them. So king to f6, now queen d4. And obviously, let me point something out. You don't want to take that rook. Let's be very clear here, because then black is the one delivering checkmate. Do you see that? Note the super attack against the C-man here. So on knight takes rook, look at that eval bar. Wow. Check and take your pick of checkmates. I'll use the rookie. Bam. But you could use the queen if you wanted to. So queen d4. King takes the knight. King's rook to e1 check. King d7. Queen g7 check. King c6. Same comment as before. Do not take the rook, you greedy Gus, and end up getting checkmated, in this case in 2 moves, because there's not even a queen to interpose. No, the purpose of bringing the queen here was to give the check, on c7, check. And after queen b7 check, that's where black finally saw that a checkmate is looming and resigned. Let's go ahead and show that checkmate. King a5, rook d5 check, rook has to block, rook takes the rook check, queen has to block, and queen takes the queen with a magic square checkmate. Oh, yeah!